my name is Jeannie Lauren Dowden for Conduit News, and today we have Sebastian County Circuit Judge Gunnar DeLay joining us in the studio. He is here to talk about his candidacy for the Arkansas Supreme Court.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you're here today. First of all, just for those who may not be familiar with you and your story, just introduce yourself to our viewers.
Sure. I am currently serving as a Sebastian County Circuit Judge, but I have had a history of public service going back to 1994 when I was elected to the Arkansas House of Representatives. That was a big year for conservatives and Republicans because that was the year of the contract with America. I served 2 terms in the House and 1 in the Senate. And then I ran unsuccessfully for the Congress and got beat by a guy by the name of John Bozeman in a runoff. He's gone on to bigger and better things. After that, Governor Huckabee appointed me to a 2-year term as Sebastian County prosecuting attorney. And after that, I kind of got out of public service for a while. And then I was appointed to the bench in 2018 by Governor Asa Hutchinson.
So a lot of different roles there. Talk to us just about those differences as a lawmaker, then as a judge, and really how they have prepared you for the bench, for the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I think that's a great question because I think, first of all, I'm one of those rare animals that has served in all 3 branches of government. And so my time as a legislator, I think it gave me good perspective in terms of the processes that go into making law and the importance of separation of powers. Each branch has to stay in their own lane. And sometimes it goes back and forth. We have judges that want to legislate from the bench, and we have legislators that want to create judicial rules and procedures. And so it's critically important that whether you're serving in the legislature or on the bench, that you respect each branch and the function that they are supposed to serve. And I think because I've served in each of those branches, I can fully understand that as a sitting justice.
You mentioned making sure that they're independent. And you also mentioned judges who want to legislate from the bench. Talk to us about that. Really, it feels as though that has really ramped up over the past several years. And then especially now over the pandemic with COVID, we have seen really, like you and I have talked about off camera, just 2 sets of rules really for the people.
Yes, that's why I think it's so important for the voters to elect judges that are, 1, constitutional conservatives, originalists, and strict constructionists. An originalist is a jurist that believes that in interpreting either the state or U.S. Constitution, that you consider the original intent of the people that drafted that document. So if there was a question as to, what rights a person may or may not have, then you would go back and consider, well, what were the founding fathers thinking when they drafted that document? A strict constructionist means that in interpreting law and statutes, that you consider just the plain language of the statute and that you don't go beyond that in applying the law. The problem is that liberal jurists have been what's called activist, which means that maybe it's not clear in the law or they don't like the law. And so they're going to just kind of fill in the blank with their own personal liberal preference.
Right.
And that is what is destroying this country and the judiciary. That's not the function of the court. It is to follow the law as written. And if it's vague, then you can strike the law down for being vague. But don't fill in the blank with your own personal, I don't particularly like the way the law is written. I want to make a public policy decision. Right. And we really saw this more recently in the United States Supreme Court's debate and discussion over the mandates that recently got challenged and struck down by the court. But you saw some of the jurists on the bench really having a discussion about the merits of the action taken. That's not even the question. We don't care if it's effective. That's not the question. The question is, did the president or the Congress have the authority to make that edict. And in that case, the court ruled that no, the president did not have the rulemaking authority through OSHA, which is an organization that's governing workplace safety. And then all of a sudden, they're going to utilize that to mandate a vaccine for the population. So that is, I think, a good illustration of the danger of legislating from the bench.
Yeah, and the vaccine mandate was huge. We're also seeing kind of like the rise of the parents in the public school system. We are seeing pushback from parents at school board meetings. Recently the DOJ called those parents who are speaking out domestic terrorists, which is crazy to me.
Yes.
But how would you see issues like that as well play into the Supreme Court and so forth?
I think these controversies that have arisen between the school boards and the parents show that is a symptom of a larger problem. And that is the effects of elitism. And by that, I mean that right now in our country, we've got a situation where the governed have to go by a different set of rules than the ruling class. And they really look down on the governed as, you're not quite up to our level, our standard. We don't have to play by the same rules that you have to play by. And so you see this in the school board efforts to shut down free speech. Because I don't like what you had to say, these boards think, well, I can have you removed, I can have you shut down, I can have you hauled out, and in some cases even arrested. And even the more extreme position is having the Department of Justice, investigate those people. That's alarming.
Right.
And so we really need justices that appreciate one of the founding principles of our country, and that is that all people are on the same playing field. The governed and the ruling class, all on the same playing field. And if you look at the Bill of Rights, that's really what they were designed to do.
We've gotten so far away from that over the past several years. How do you course correct?
Well, I think you course correct by first, people have got to start paying attention to who they elect to the court, at least at the state level. Now, the presidents appoint our federal judges. That's a different system. But thank the Lord that we can still elect judges in Arkansas. We need to take full advantage of that, get fully informed about who are our constitutional jurists here that really care about it. And that can provide some degree of course correction. And then also, I was at a meeting the other day. I said, a wonderful tool that the people have is the Freedom of Information Act, and utilize that. If you feel like you're being shut out of state and local government and school boards, utilize that act to access public records and get information about education or what other issue you're concerned about. But I think those are two good tools that we can use in kind of protecting ourselves from this elitist mentality that seems to be pervasive.
Another topic that we've heard a lot of people talk about has been election integrity, especially after the presidential election. It has been said that Arkansas did not really have a problem with that, but across the country, it has been playing out in the courts. Talk to us about that and what you're seeing.
Well, we certainly didn't have any issues this year, but we know historically Arkansas had a long history of election abuse and almost legendary. So, I think it's one of those things that you always have to keep a close eye on. But I think the voters need to know that the high court, the Arkansas Supreme Court, has jurisdiction over election contests. And as we saw in the last presidential election, a lot of some very important decisions got made at the state Supreme Court level. And so it does matter who is sitting on the bench. If there were to be an election contest, are they going to follow the law? Or do we go back to this activist judge and go, well, it doesn't really matter because we've got COVID, we've got a pandemic. So therefore all laws are suspended. That's dangerous.
That's what I was about to say. Absolutely. That's very dangerous. You talked a little bit about your philosophy earlier. If you were to tell us if you had a favorite judge, U.S. Supreme Court justice, or even on the local level, who would that be and why?
That's a great question. I think for me personally, the justices on the Supreme Court level that I admire the most. It would be Justices Scalia, Thomas, and Alito. And the reason is because they have demonstrated a consistency over a long period of time on the bench. And, when they were appointed, they made it real clear. I'm an originalist and a strict constructionist, and they have been true to that principle. Now, obviously, we've lost Justice Scalia, but if I had to pick one, it would probably be him, because I loved the fire with which he wrote his opinions, and he had some blistering dissents, and I just thought that was a way he could show his personality, but also his passion for what he truly believed in. And another thing that I really want to emulate is that Justice Scalia got out and among the people. He spoke to universities, law students, civic organizations about the importance of our Bill of Rights and our Constitution, and talked kind of in general terms in an educational way to the public. I want to use this office for that same purpose. Go into grade schools, junior highs, high schools, talk to students about, just as a reminder, they may not be getting it in school, and I fear that they're not. So using the office to go out to the public and really preach about, hey, the blessings that we've got, and here's what these rights are about, and here's how they affect your life.
You are running against Justice Karen Baker. She's currently on the bench. How would you point out any differences between the two of you, and what you would say to a voter if they were having to choose, which they will be soon?
Yeah, I would say that Justice Baker is from the left wing of the court right now, and that's unmistakable in her judicial history. And this election really represents an opportunity that the balance of the court could be determined. There's pretty much 3 liberals on the court, 3 conservatives, and 1 justice that's kind of in the middle on a lot of the decisions. So this could definitely move the court in a conservative direction. And if people truly believe that the court is the last line of defense for protecting the rights and liberties of people, then they've got a real opportunity, because there's a stark contrast between the principles that I've exhibited as a legislator and the principles that we're talking about as a candidate for the court. So I hope that people will do their homework, and welcome to go to our website at gunnerdelay.com, and they can see a little bit about my personal history and what I've done over the years.
Wonderful. That's what I was going to ask, how they could get in touch with you. Is there anything else that you would want our viewers to know?
Well, besides our website, I would invite them to go to our Facebook page at Judge Gunner DeLay for Supreme Court, because over the course of the past 9 months, we have been posting videos on each of the 10 amendments of the Bill of Rights and explaining what those mean. And if you like that content, and you think that message needs to be put out to the public, share it, and share it with your neighbors and friends and people on Facebook, and we sure would appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming into the studio today.
You bet, and thank you for having us.